Hi, everybody. Eve Harow, Rejuvenation on the Land of Israel Network. It is almost the end of April 12th, 2021. Rosh Chodesh Iyar, the first day of Iyar, the new month of Iyar. At the beginning of possibly what's the most intense week on the Israeli calendar, the week that includes Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day for soldiers and for victims of terror, followed immediately by Yom HaAtzmaut, by Israel's Independence Day. Lots of debates and discussions every single year, if it's not too much to have one following the other. But it very much symbolizes life in Israel, the intensity, the grief, the price that we've paid for living in our own country. And on the other hand, and the price we continue to pay, the people who don't want us to be here, and then the wonderful joy and appreciation for what we have following right on its heels. And so this evening, I'm very, very happy to have with me Michal Hoter, whose family actually I'm familiar with for many, many years. And she's here tonight as a representative of her family, of a bereaved family, and she'll tell us about her brother. But she's also with us here on Rejuvenation as a musician and is very talented. And if those of you who are watching on YouTube, a very lovely young woman. So Michal, thank you so much for joining us here on Rejuvenation during this week here.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you here tonight. What has happened in your family, your brother, your family's reaction the last few years, and what brought you to your music. Tell us a little bit about Gavriel.
So Gavriel, my brother, was murdered 18 years ago in a terror attack in his yeshiva. He was 17 years old. He was just in the gap between going to the army because he was very young. So he was studying in a yeshiva. And Friday night at the dinner time, he was volunteering with another 3 of his friends in the dining room, and 2 terrorists came straight to the kitchen and just murdered the 4 of the volunteering guys.
Mm-hmm.
We heard the news on Saturday morning, and yeah, that was it was in Shabbat Shemot. I was 14 years old then. I was very young, and he was 3 years older than me. We were very close at that time. Yes, and I remember at the same Shabbat morning, after I heard the news, I was just running outside, and I took my siddur with me, and I was just praying and just singing the whole time. And since then, I mean, music was very part in our family. We always used to sing, but since then I understand another point of view or understanding of music. That music is a way for me to go through grief, and with music I can just sing my emotion and get comfort by it. And since then I composed many songs. In the beginning it was many songs about my brother, but slowly it was also about life, and sometimes even without words, sometimes just as a melody that really expressing what I'm feeling. And my family is the same as well with music. In the Shiva, we used to sing a lot back then, and many people came to us and ask us if we can record just on tape, the songs, because it gave them so much power. And we went beyond the chords. We did a CD, an actual album, and we released it on the year of Gavriel memory. And we called this album Hakol HaChaser, the missing voice, because always when my brothers was singing, we heard that Gavriel is not with us. We heard the missing voice in the harmony. And after 4 years after that, we wanted to also to show, people. We don't want people only to cry with us. We also want people, to feel happiness, to hear our music, but also have a smile on their faces. So then we did another album called Be'etzem Zricha. In English, we called it A New Beginning. And then we
Zricha is actually sunrise.
I know it's
Yes.
a bit weird that in the translation they made
Right.
it differently.
Right.
It's like suddenly sunrise. It just didn't
Right.
anything go
It's hard to
right.
translate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then there we have a more upbeat songs, more melody that shows also the happiness with
Hmm.
grief. Um, and actually now these days we almost going to release a third album called Kol Kuli, and it's me now all my voice.
Right.
Um, and there we have a really really different album because we also have many original songs there, but we also connected to our ethnic side in our family. My dad is Yemenites, my grandparents from Yemen, and they came to Israel in the 50s. So there we also mix some of Yemenite music and very old and antique traditional instruments like
Hmm.
oud and kanun, and we mix it with our family harmony. So it's really really like
Very
a
unique.
very mixed, unique, and very Israeli kind of.
Hmm.
Um,
And
yes.
where's your mother from?
Oh, my mother, she's from England.
Quite a mix, Yemenite and British. Yes.
Super, super mixed. Yeah.
Very Israeli.
And it shows in in the music. It really does. It's like an accent, that people have an accent because this is how they've been raised.
Hmm.
And the same, they can sometimes change it if they speak in a different language. The same with music, it's what you're hearing. And me as a composer, I mean, the music I compose, it's a lot about what I'm hearing, the music I'm influenced from, and culture and rhythm I'm influenced from or listening to, and then it shows in my own music.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Have you spent any time out of Israel?
Yes, I actually just came back to Israel in the Corona time a year ago.
Hmm. Hmm.
I did my master study in world music in Helsinki, in Finland.
Wow.
And yeah, and I've been traveling a lot with my music also in the master study. Every 2 months I was visiting a different country and was living there and met musicians from that country.
Amazing experience. Wow.
Yeah.
So really international. That's beautiful. So we're gonna now go and listen at least to part of the song, and then we'll talk about it and who wrote it and who composed it. So everyone, you are now listening to Bli Lehipared. Yes? Okay, everybody.
את ואני בפרדס ליד הבית, היינו מציירות הרים גבוהים ללא גבולות. שוב מביטה בך מה לקחה, העיניים מתמלאות, צפים עולים בזיכרונות. את איתי לצידי מובילה אותי אל הדרך המוארת שבתוך תוכי. הלכת ממני בלי להיפרד, בלי להתכוון. עכשיו נדמה לי הכאב רק מתגבר, הכל כאן משתנה לי. רק רוצה שוב לחלום אותך, אחות שלי קרובה. היום הכל נראה אחרת, ילדים קטנים קופצים רצים, ואת אילמת תמונות שוכבות ללא מסגרת, חיוכים קפואים, מדים תלויים, ואת איתי לצידי מרגישה אותי, מציירת את הדרך שלי שקטה חזרי אליי חזרי אולי הלכת ממני בלי להיפרד בלי להתכוון עכשיו נדמה לי הכאב רק מתגבר הכל כאן משתנה הלכת ממני בלי להיפרד בלי להתכוון עכשיו נדמה לי הכאב רק מתגבר הכל כאן משתנה לי רק רוצה שוב לחלום אותך אחות שלי קרובה מתגעגעת
Well, this song is actually a collaboration between you, and tell us about your partner in putting out this beautiful piece of music.
Yeah, so these lyrics and the singer of this song, it's Neta Ben Armon Shushan. She lost her sister 20 years ago in a terror attack as well. Her sister was serving in the army, and she was just on the way on the bus on her way back home.
She was actually sleeping.
Yeah, she
Yes.
was from the bus. Yes.
And a terrorist opened fire. He was dressed as a paratrooper, and he started shooting at the central bus station in Afula, and he killed her. So, and she was, now Neta was also 14, right, when her sister was killed?
Yeah, Neta, she's 2 years older than me, and we were at the same. I mean, she was 14 when her sister was killed, and I was 14 when my brother was killed. So we shared a lot about. We met in one family. It's an organization of to support family victims of the terror.
Right.
And back then, when we were at that age, they were doing like every summer or every holiday, like they were taking a group of us together and just meeting and doing fun stuff together. And that's where Neta and I met. And slowly we developed a friendship. In the beginning, we didn't really like each other, but slowly, we saw that we have a lot of common because she's an amazing singer. And then we met again. We studied together in Rimon school, singing, and we always wanted to do something like that together. And when Neta sent me the lyrics of the song, I remember it was like just a month ago actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really new. I was just in tears because she put down in words exactly the same feeling, you know, that a sister that lost a sister or a brother would
Right.
have.
Right.
And I was just in tears, and then from that I just came here to the piano, and the song just came out like that in one piece.
Wow.
And then I sent it to her, and she said that that's exactly the direction she wanted to take it. And then we went to the recording studio with amazing musicians that I like to do music with them. And each one of them also gave his own feeling to the music.
Input, right. Right.
Okay. So also when I compose it, and when I compose it, the music just came straight away. But then the next step in music is the arrangement. It's to know which instruments we'll play, what will be the groove, what the song will sound like eventually. And I remember I didn't want it to be just a ballad, just a sad ballad. I wanted the song to have the groove, because in the beat part she's saying halach mimeni, like you walk away from me. And I wanted it to sound like someone is walking, someone is really walking. And then there's a different part. She said, "You are with me, atiti letidi. You are with me by my side." So I also did some vocals and voice it to feel that there is another person there as well. And also it's a lot about grief and music. Sometimes you can hear music and it can put you very down.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can feel the emotion of the lyrics, but you can still feel the empathy that it's life, you know. Life
Right.
have the bad and the good, and we just trying to we keep on walking.
Hmm. Hmm. I think that's what makes classical music classical, meaning you can listen to it for, many, many years. It never really loses. It's not something just trendy, because that's exactly where it takes you into the emotions and into really feeling the music. And I'm far from being an expert in music, but I know what I feel and I know what I love and I know how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is this song coming out, aside from, of course, on my podcast, Rejuvenation?
Uh-huh.
How are people going to hear this song? How do you go about getting a song out these days?
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday it was in the news, Israeli news on Channel
Hmm.
One,
Right.
and that was very nice. They did like they actually show the whole story. They did like
Hmm.
7 minutes of article about it, and
Hmm.
came also to the studio to take a photo of us walking there.
They
And
also, since I saw it, they
yeah.
played the song for Neta's parents for the first time. And you
Hmm.
see their reaction. I can't imagine that anybody watched that and stayed with dry eyes,
Hmm.
to see her parents really. They were just blown away by how beautiful the song is. And of course, the never ending grief that was, put to music like that by their living, wonderful daughter who was sitting by their side. It was really very, very emotional,
Yeah, it was very
very
moving. I
special.
also cried when I saw that part.
Yeah, how could you not? So are you doing how does it work? Do you do a show? Do you do, how does it come out?
We just released it on YouTube as well,
Okay.
and soon it's going to be out in all the platforms, Spotify and iTunes.
Hmm.
But now in Yom HaZikaron, it's going to be playing Galei Tzahal, Galgalatz, Reshet
All the
Bima,
Israeli radio
all the
stations.
Israeli radio station, yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and yes, and let's see
Right.
where we'll go.
What happens here in Israel, for those of you who have not been here, on a Yom HaZikaron, on a Memorial Day, is all the television shows during the day are different personalized stories, different films that are made of people who were lost, either soldiers or victims of terror. The music on the radio is also songs that either have to do with war, or beautiful songs, or like what you've put out now, something with more meaning. It's definitely a day that you feel here in Israel. In addition to the sirens, which I don't know if I would say they're a form of music, but it's something wordless. So at 8 o'clock at night, and then again at 10 o'clock, at 11 o'clock in the morning, there's sirens that go off all over the country for a minute or two, where people stop and whatever they're doing, get out of their cars in the middle of the highway, stop their cars and get out of their cars, and just give whatever it is that they do. Some people will say psalms, some people, too many of us, will think about someone that we've lost, who's being memorialized on that day. Although I think it's important to say that for the mishpachot shakulot, for the families who are actually the grieving families, every day is Memorial Day. You don't need a particular day. I think Memorial Day is really for everybody else to take the time to remember and to pay homage and thank you to those of the people in Israel who paid with their lives for our independence and for what we do here. So first of all, I want to thank you, because what you and Ned have done have made the day more meaningful also for the rest of us. And I'm sure for the families who have lost someone, and also just for the large Israeli family who feels for everyone on that day, and needs to not forget, and needs to feel the pain in order so that we can feel the joy as well, and that we deserve to feel the joy. And that comes across so beautifully in your music. It really does. To ask you a more personal question, how does your family, it's been 18 years, 18 years is a long time. I know one of your brothers became a moel, he became a ritual, it sounds so cold in English, a ritual circumciser. But when Jewish boys are born at 8 days, so there's a brit, ritual circumcision. And it's a very beautiful ceremony, or it can be. And one of the things that he does is he sings. He makes it a really joyous experience. I've been to more than one when he's there, and he makes it a completely different experience. And he talks about your brother, and he talks about the fact that it's a mitzvah, it's a wonderful thing that he's doing, and he does it and in memory of your brother, and to have other families be joyous at the birth of a son. And it's really, it takes it up to really a very, very different level. And you, through your music, how about the rest of your family? I'm sure it's changed the family. How could it not have?
I think each of us is taking it to his own way.
Mm-hmm.
She's a dancer, and her husband is a dancer.
Wow.
We actually had a video clip of one of her song in the new album that her husband is dancing there to her music.
Amazing.
And my little brother, he was 4 years old when Gavriel was killed, and he is now an officer in the army in Golani.
Wow.
And also he's talking about his Gavriel as well to his soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and he's talking with them a lot. And also, I mean, I also see how it's infected on him, you know, also trying to be a better version of himself, and sometimes reading from Gavriel books, and I mean, that he wrote to
Mm-hmm.
himself, how to work on his midot. And I think, yeah, each one of us is trying to take a different project. My mother as well, she have a really huge project in the Israel education, where Jewish, Christian, and Arab students learn English together online, and learn the differences in each other cultures and religion, and it's really beautiful.
I think it's important to also note that when tragedy strikes, people can take it into anger and grief and violence. And your family made a choice to not do that, because it is a choice to take it into joy, into living more deeply and expressing yourselves through music and through things that make people feel more, not necessarily happy all the time, but feel, which is sometimes a very hard thing to do. But you don't live fully if you don't do that. And your family has really done that. Most people in Israel are familiar with the Hoter family and the things that you've done in his memory, so that his all too short life is greater than the 17 years that he was on the earth. He's still affecting people through you. And that's really maybe the best hansacha, the best, how do you say that in English? The best memorialization. It doesn't really fit, but the best way of keeping him alive that any of you could do.
Yeah, it's really true what you said. I remember the day that it happened on Shabbat, Saturday. My mother she saw my father, like after the officer was telling him the news, and he just stood still, and my mother was just shaking him. You have to cry, you have to cry. And she just told each one of us that it's, you know, there is no place for anger, because it's what God will, you know, it was very strong. I think she kind of moved us all just for love, and that we need to show more love in the world. There is enough anger, there's enough hate. We need to do the opposite of it.
Mm-hmm. Is your family, well, your brother was in yeshiva, so your family has faith. It's a religious family. How does that affect faith?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super affect faith, because it's everything about faith. To believe that he's in a better place, to believe that it was God will, that was his, I don't know, that was the life that he was supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was supposed to live like that. I don't know. But sometimes, of course, I also feel no, it's not supposed to be like that. He's supposed to have now 8 more children, and you know, and
Right.
but yeah, it's a lot about that. But it just to understand that this is now the reality. This is now what happened, and if someone can just come because he hates, when he didn't know. I mean, the terrorism that did that, they probably didn't know Gavriel. Gavriel spoke Arabic, fully Arabic. He could have, you know, speak with them and of course to convince them. But I don't know, like some thought that I have like that. But if someone can have this kind of hate to just come and kill someone because of his different religion or different nationality, I mean, I just understand that I have to do something different. Then I have to show more love in this world. If someone can have this much hate, then I need to show more love. And this is all also on my Facebook wall and on even on my friends' wall. Sometimes when I see hate, I'm just asking them, why are they showing this post? I mean, don't we have enough? I mean, why not show more love and careness? And this is also why am I doing music? And I'm collaboration with many musicians from around the world. And I've been to countries where they sometimes don't accept me as Israeli, and sometimes not really as a Jew person. But I always meet people that just believe in love and believe in humanity. And I think that, I mean, in my point of view, music is the bridge to do that. Yeah, it's a big.
Wow. Okay, that's real tikkun olam when they talk about it as like some modern idea, but every person taking upon themselves something to make the world better. And if Hashem is love, which many of us believe, then that's the way to bring him into the world as well, is just by showing unconditional love. And despite the tragedy that befell your family. Michal, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, maybe we can hear now the song.
Okay, which one?
I think the song I wrote, because it's in English, because this station is in English.
Okay.
Song I wrote about my brother. It was, I think I sang it for the first time a month, the 30 days after he was killed on his grave. And it's called Atuf Betalit. It's been wrapped in a talit.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time how we saw Gavriel, because in the Yemenite tradition, when you go in, I mean, after you die, and after they clean you, they wrap you in a talit, and this is how you go into your grave in your own talit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for me it's a very strong strong song. It's like accepting that I won't see my brother again. And also it's talk about faith, like the same like we talk right now, to understand that there's maybe a meaning to it. And yeah, and the last sentence of it is Gavriel is Eisham Babrumim, and we translate it to Gavriel is somewhere in the sky. Yeah, so maybe we can listen to that.
Okay, so we will listen to that song, and with that, I think we will end, because I really think there's absolutely nothing that I can add. Michal Hoter, thank you so much for joining me and for sharing a piece of yourself and a piece of Gavriel with my audience. And Shelo tedu od tsa'ar, your family should only know from wonderful and from good times, and all of Am Yisrael. No more terror victims, no more wars. That's something, when we talk about peace, we talk about shalom. That's really what we're praying for, because we know the other side. So thank you, everyone. Rejuvenation, Eve Harow on the Land of Israel Network, and thanks to Tabitha and to Ben. And I hope wherever you are in the world, think about Israel, that this is a meaningful week for all of us here, very intense week. And from wherever you are, to try and share it with us, our grief and our joy. Take care, everybody. Goodbye for now, and here we go into the song.
Continue in spite of the pain, to take up the knife that's cut to the heart,
shining face, his pure, infectious smile. Because I saw my beloved brother wrapped in a Tali.
To know his soul is in Eden at peace, it must in a sea of Torah to continue and to be strong.
Exactly as he would wish. Gavriel, you changed our lives.
You brought
So much light and Torah.
and you left with a smile on your face,
And it seems that it's all for the best.
to know
He forgives me for everything.
to feel his warm embrace, and always, always
He'll be with me. Gabriel, he's somewhere in the skies. Gabriel, he's somewhere in the sky.